Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens have both caused their share of controversy over the past year in online right-wing circles. Now, Owens has been blasted for pushing conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk's death, while Carlson has faced heat for interviewing far-right influencer Nick Fuentes.
Jeremy Boring, who's co-founder and the former CEO of The Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, he believes the two are actually very different in terms of their goals. He accuses Owens of only trying to boost her own status by pandering to her audience's belief. Let's watch.
On two separate occasions, what do you actually believe? And on both occasions, she told me, I believe what the people believe. I am the voice of the people. Now, never mind that that's a completely amoral statement. Never mind that I don't know who the people are in this conversation. Never mind that the people, whoever they are, can obviously be wrong. Candace is actually saying something somewhat profound. She's saying, I will say whatever gets the most reward. She may not even know that that's what she's saying, but she's articulating audience capture as a virtue.
By contrast, Boring says Tucker Carlson is part of a small cohort of people, including Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve Bannon, who do have real political goals.
These are people engaged in an actual political project. These are people who are engaged in trying to create a new American majority premised on left-wing economic populism and right-wing social populism. Some of the sort of superficial qualities look the same, but I don't think it actually is the same. Candace is not engaged in a political project. Tucker Carlson is very much engaged in a political project.
Now, in the meantime, Owens is once again stirring up controversy after leaking an audio clip of a woman alleged to be Erica Kirk speaking on a Turning Point USA conference call. Owens says she found Erica's tone during the call to be, quote, extraordinarily upbeat, considering it allegedly took place less than 2 weeks after her husband was killed.
Owens also took issue with Erica Kirk allegedly discussing the amount of merchandise sales TPUSA had completed since Charlie's death. She took to X earlier this week, writing, I'm still stuck on, this is Candace Owens, I'm still stuck on the fact that Turning Point raised $250 million over a few months and felt zero shame attacking YouTubers for making thousands of dollars discussing the flaws of the investigation. The shamelessness of that PR strategy is absolutely wild to reflect on. Let's start here. Candace. We know how I feel. This is yet another example. So this leaked audio of Erica Kirk
I listened to
being very excited about how much money they had taken in, how much influence they were having, how many people were watching, listening to, involved with Turning Point. And there's a short time after Charlie Kirk's death, and people are implying that this shows that she's not really sad or that she's not being affected. I think this is absolute BS. I think this is nonsense. People grieve in all sorts of different ways. She is clearly, and I don't know her, so this is what I'm gathering from how she reacts to all this. I think she has chosen to try to find something good to come out of Charlie, her husband, dying in such a horrific public way, and that is his life's legacy, the organization he started, to try to build that into the even larger, more successful, more influential thing. So she is taking pride in what they are accomplishing and how many people they're reaching, and that is part of the way she is memorializing and recognizing her dead husband, rather than just saying, this is so sad and I'll never get over how sad this is. She is trying to have something positive come out of it. I think that is completely relatable, completely understandable. I think not everyone, but a lot of people would act in a similar way and have in a similar way in the past, and it's fine. And to try to read that or interpret that as some kind of indictment of her or what was going on in their relationship is projection and wrong and actually evil.
Serious note, Amber and I talked about grief and talked about how there's many ways to handle it. So in Erica Kirk's perspective, it might look like she's putting her face down into work and just like getting things done and just trying to rally. And then sometimes people like that a year later will find themselves, or in moments of silence, just sobbing to themselves. And that's perfectly normal. Then
she doesn't want to be on camera for that.
Then there's another point of grief that like Candace Owens could be doing, which is just you fabricate every single story you can come up with.
Go insane.
Because, no, for real, because you try to make sense of somebody dying. Like you're saying, oh, he was what did she say? He was teleported here for a little while, or he's from another time. Time travel. So like it starts to be a little crazy. And Amber and I both have seen these things happen with different people that we've both lost at a young age. And so that to me is a serious point. But on Instagram, there is a funny point that Candace Owens, we just came to the conclusion, she just loves Charlie Kirk. She wanted that to be her man, and this is why are you going this hard? Like, nobody's understanding. So maybe she's like going on and on because she can't fathom. She talks about how good of friends they were and how they kind of lost touch. Like, this sounds like somebody that you wanted to be something with, and it didn't go exactly where you wanted it to go. And then he ended up with a different wife, and now it's a quarrel because she didn't love him in the way that you were, you thought he needed to be loved. You're smiling too much, you're not, and that's why you should have been with me. That's what I'm getting. That's the vibes that I'm getting, and the Instagram world is getting. Sounds a little crazy, but I was like, wow, that otherwise, I mean, she went this hard on Bridget Macron. She might just be bored, but it seems to me like she actually deeply cares about this man.
I have no idea what she really thinks or really cares, and I certainly would not make that insinuation without more information. I think it's what Jeremy Boring said, to get back to the earlier part, is that she is completely audience captured. Audience capture is a real phenomenon. That is the danger that independent content creators, people who participate in the alternate media ecosystem, of which we are a part, although we're a little different because we do work for a large mainstream company, content creator, commentators, pundits, personalities who are associated with a network, with an organization, face pressures of their own. A lot of people imagine they face sponsorship pressure or advertising pressure. In my experience, this has not really been a thing, but it can be a thing in other contexts. So there, you face editorial constraints. You get a new boss who buys the whole company, as people are seeing with the Ellisons and whatever, that the editorial line changes. So those people face constraints. But people who are totally off on their own, they face the constraint of, you learn, because of the very precise analytics of all these platforms, you learn exactly what the people watching you want to hear, and you feel pressured to reward them over and over and over again with exactly what they want to hear. And if you lean into a audience that is more interested in fringe ideas, you want to give them fringe ideas. And I'm neither saying that's good nor bad, because sometimes fringe ideas have validity. I don't think the fringe ideas about Charlie Kirk's death have any legitimacy at all, but she's leaned into it because she has an audience that expects that. And that's what he's articulating, versus someone like Tucker Carlson, who might seem to be platforming fringe ideas, but they're fringe ideas that he actually agrees with and is interested in advancing, whereas she is which is why she can go from Brigitte Macron to Charlie Kirk to whatever, why she has not been, she was at one point she didn't even have right-wing ideas in the first place.
I agree with most of what you said, except for the fact that Tucker Carlson is not doing the exact same thing. I mean, to go and interview...
I don't think he's doing the exact same thing.
I do. I think to go and interview Vladimir Putin, understanding that you're doing the softball interview to build up your channel, is something that is self-serving and audience-serving. And also, he didn't do a hard interview. It wasn't like he was journalistic trying to get to the bottom of the Ukraine war. Like, he believed everything Putin said.
Well,
I mean, to interview Nick Fuentes...
What I'm saying.
I know, but I just think part of it is also trying to build your audience, right? You know that interview was going to blow it out the park. Every major news network was like, oh my gosh, he's sitting down with Putin. What's he going to do? He got mocked by the people that he wanted to be mocked by and has an issue with. He got celebrated by the people that thought it was a righteous thing to do. He did exactly what he was trying to do, build his platform at that point. Because he was trying to say, I'm a major player that can set up an interview like this independently. And so he's doing things that are also trying to get the audience that he had from Fox to stick with him, and the new people to stick with him.
Well, yes, but he's charting them. He wants his audience to evolve. I mean, much of his audience is on board with him, but he is interested in altering the direction of the Republican Party, of conservative thought, more toward non-interventionism, toward less hawkishness toward Russia, he wants to take it, frankly, in a much less anti-Islamic direction. He's meeting with Islamic leaders. He wants to take it in a more anti-Israel direction. Like, that's his political project, which and Jeremy Boring, I agree with in this interview, was trying to distinguish that a little bit from what Candace Owens is doing, even though it has some surface similarities. But I don't know about any of the earlier things you just said, but maybe we'll get more information on that in a later date.
Look, it's just Instagram tea. Don't take it too seriously. We have a lot more to talk about on Rising. Stay with us.